Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. Our practice today is called Triangle Pose. Now, triangle pose is a wonderful posture because it's going to focus on our hamstrings. Sometimes we have very tight hamstrings, and I have tight hamstrings sometimes. And so we'll do several poses that will start to lengthen and strengthen the hamstring muscles, but particularly focused on triangle pose, which is actually kind of a lunge standing position and also works our hips. All right, here's our props that we'll be using for our practice today. Number one, we'll need a strap or something long like a jump rope, a belt, something like that, okay? That's gonna help us get to our hamstring stretches. So I'll set my strap to the side here. You might wanna have a yoga block, one or two. Sometimes I have a thinner one, and so I use two in that case, or if you've got a kind of a standard size yoga block, one should do just fine for our practice. If you'd like, you can have a nice soft pillow, like a yoga bolster, like this, and of course something soft to sit on and kneel on. So I've got my blanket here. If you've got a towel or even another yoga mat that you can roll out on top of your first one here, that works fine too. Let's go ahead and begin. We like to start in a seated position, so do sit on something soft like your folded blanket or towel or even a soft pillow. And once you're seated, be sure you're lengthening through the spine, nice and tall through your torso. Maybe give your shoulders a nice big circle here, then relax them. And then a nice deep breath. Nice full inhale and a complete exhale. Do that again. A nice full breath in and exhale. Then just settle into stillness while focusing on the breath. Just slow, steady breaths to begin, just an awareness that you are breathing. You can do this with your eyes opened, and if they are open, perhaps just a soft gaze forward or even down at the ground. You can even just close your eyes. Slow, steady breaths. Just getting in tune with the feeling of your breath and the sound of your breath. As you get more connected to the feeling of the breath, what you may do is take a nice full breath in so you can experience the breath rising upward to fill your lungs. Nice expansive breath right across the chest. Then exhale. You can do that several times. Filling yourself up. Exhale to empty. Another sensation you can create here is the abdominal lock. So when we inhale, you may have imagined that your breath is rising upward to fill your lungs. And keep that uplifting sensation with the breath, and we create a lock down here in the belly. And we do that by exhaling and drawing the belly button in towards the spine, creating a nice contraction of the abdominal muscles. That's the abdominal lock. So as we inhale, once again, breath is rising, it's filling up our lungs. We keep that uplifting sensation. Exhaling, just pull your belly button in towards your spine, and there's our core connection, the abdominal lock. Breathing like this a few times, just bringing that energy, good awareness to the breathing effort. And just continue to listen to the sound of your breath. That oceanic sound, very calm and relaxing. These are wonderful things just to get in tune with how you're feeling at this moment and just to be more present, connected, and aware as we begin our practice. Let's take 3 more breaths while in stillness, and then we'll add a very simple movement. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out across the room and then all the way up towards the ceiling to complete the in-breath. Then exhale, extend your arms out across the room. Feel as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you. And as you finish the exhale, the arms come back down by your side. Let's do that again. A nice full breath in, reaching out, then all the way up. And exhale, reaching out. Good effort, reaching through your fingertips all the way back down. Now, as you're moving the arms, we're still paying attention to the breath. So we're still inhaling, feeling the breath rising to fill the lungs. When we exhale, we're still drawing the belly button in towards spine, connecting to your core center. Now we have added the arm movement, and there's good effort, good energy in the arm extension as they move up and down. As you inhale, you might feel the lengthening through the sides of your body as the arms go up. And you exhale, the arms come back down, feeling and noticing your shoulders perhaps. Let's take 3 more breaths like this. And just feel free to move at your own pace. No need to move exactly how I'm moving. And when you're complete, you can just bring your arms back down and let them relax for a moment. We're going to do a little side bend, and I thought this would be a nice preparatory pose before we get into triangle pose. Not only does it work our hamstrings and our hips, but kind of lengthens the sides of our body. So let's do a little stretch here. So here you might want to use a block and place it perhaps on one side of you. Let's say it's on your right side. I'm just going to mirror you. And it's kind of like the armrest on a chair. And so we're just going to kind of lean and put our forearm and elbow on that rest. And as you do that, just press into that armrest and just kind of feel lifted. Don't want to feel too collapsed here, but nicely lengthen. Now we're going to inhale, extend the left arm out to the side, then all the way up until it reaches towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, maybe gently reach overhead. Doesn't have to be too much. So you start to feel that lengthening sensation down through the left side of the body. And we'll just hold here for a moment. Just 2 or 3 breaths is fine. As you inhale, you might even feel that lengthening sensation, stretching quality, because you're expanding through the lungs, and you might just feel that extra length occur. All right, we're going to inhale and just rise back up. Then exhale, you can relax your arm back down by your side. If that felt a little fatiguing in the arm or shoulder, maybe a little circle there. Just so a nice introductory stretch to the sides of the body. Let's do the other side. So here's our armrest over here. Lean into it, press just to get some lift and extension through the torso. Now inhale, extend your arm out to the side, then all the way up. And on the exhale, start to reach over your head a little bit until you feel that gentle stretch. And really you can just hold right there. Keep breathing. Inhale, maintain the lengthening. Feel the expansion through the side of the body. Exhale, still draw belly button in towards spine. Not only are we engaging the abdominal log, but it's also a wonderful way to help support your body, whether you're in motion or holding a pose. All right, let's go ahead and inhale and come back up nice and tall. Exhale, bring the arm back down by your side. And we'll give that shoulder a little circle there too. On to our next part. I like to turn sideways for this. Just a mild back bend. So you're going to bring your hands behind you, maybe prop yourself up onto your fingertips. Notice how the shoulders do draw back. Nice opening up through the heart space. We're going to tip the chin up just a little bit. We are in our seated mild back bend, and let's energize the body. First, inhale, push into the ground with the fingertips. You might even feel an energy shoot up the arms and shoulders. Again, we're still expanding through the lungs with that inhale. Exhale, draw belly button in towards spine, a little bit more engaging if possible. We're going to add one more engagement. Again, inhale, press into the ground, breath rising, filling up your lungs. Exhale, draw belly button in, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Just another connection to your center body, but now in our upper back rather than our low belly. Let's just take 2 more breaths here. And with these 2 breaths, just feel the energy you're generating in your body. When you're complete, just lower your chin so you're looking directly forward. You can just walk your hands towards yourself, sit up nice and tall, bring the arms in front here, and maybe another circle of the shoulders and let the body relax. Just notice that transition from a very active body with that seated back bend to a little bit more neutral sensation in the body. Since that was our back bend, let's take a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed, we're going to uncross the legs and just press the soles of the feet together, or they just touch together here. The knees will be bent and opened. Now, what you can do, if you happen to have 2 blocks or even 2 hardbound books, you can just place them underneath the knees, because the legs don't have to touch the floor here, but it does help if they are touching something, just so that the legs can just feel relaxed. So I'm just going to use my block on this side. I'll use my bolster on the other side here, just like that. And then just hold on to your ankles or shins. We'll inhale and just get that lengthening through the torso and spine. Breath is rising up into the lungs. Exhale, pull belly in for support, and then we'll start to hinge forward very slowly and gently, leading with the heart and chin. Now, we didn't go too far, just a mild angle of the upper body. Now, here you can just kind of check in with yourself. If you have some sensation in the inner legs, then go ahead and stay here. Or if you want a tiny bit more, go again. Inhale, more length of the spine. Exhale, pull belly in and hinge. I'm going to pause right about here. Now, I could go further and deeper, but there's really no need to. I do feel the sensations I want to create in the inner legs. It's a light stretch. It doesn't feel forced. And that's what we really want, especially in our soft flow practice. Just being able to get into a pose, start to feel, but we're not overwhelming the body. You want to be able to be in a pose and still be relaxed. You can still breathe deeply, with the ability perhaps to hold the pose for a long period of time. So some deep breaths here. How about 2 more? When we're complete, we're just going to hinge our way back up so we're nice and tall, and just hold here for a moment. All right, just going to move my props out of the way, my block and my bolster. Just going to swing the legs back behind here. We're going to come to hands and knees. This, of course, is where your blanket will come in handy, so you have some padding for your hands and knees. So my knees here at the back end, hands here at the top, just a tabletop posture. Cat and cow, which is 2 poses that flow together. First, inhale and just tip the chin up, looking forward. Even feel like your heart is leading forward too. Meanwhile, you're creating this back bend, tipping the pelvis back and the belly drops. That's cow pose. Exhale, start with the tail. Tuck your tailbone under, a little scooping of the pelvis. Feel your belly button pull up towards spine. Your back will naturally round, and chin to chest. We have moved into cat pose. Now reverse it, still starting with the back end. Feel the tilting of the pelvis back. Belly drops, heart opens. There's our back bend. Look forward. Exhale, reverse it, round it all out. Continue this on your own. You can certainly move at your own pace here. Feel the undulation of the spine. Notice the rocking of the pelvis. This is good too as a nice prep pose for triangle. Just getting some mobility in the hips. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. And when you're complete, just pause here, returning to a tabletop position, just holding for a moment. If your head is looking forward like this, let's relax the head and neck just by looking directly down between your thumbs. That way your neck is neutral here. All right, let's go ahead and crawl off the blanket. Let's just set it to the side. You can certainly use it again anytime. We're going to return to our hands and knees as we get set up for downward facing dog.
So here we are. Initially, your shoulders might be over your wrists, your hips over your knees. We're going to change this slightly. Just step your hands forward a little bit. You might even spread out your fingers pretty wide here, creating a nice solid and wide base. It also gets a nice stretch between each finger. Lean into your hands just a little bit so you feel that pressure. It also stretches open your palms. Push into the ground so you can feel the strength and straightening of your arms. Then tuck your toes. We'll do another cat-cow flow. Inhale to cow right here. Exhale, round it out into cat pose. Hold cat pose. Be sure toes are tucked so you can lift your knees off the ground. Send your hips up into the air. Your chest will kind of sink down between the arms. That's exactly what we want. You might need to adjust your feet a little bit on your mat, even your hands a little bit. We've arrived in downward facing dog. Keep a good bend in the knees here, allowing your hips to continue to lift up into the air. This will create more length through the torso. Hands are still pressing firmly into the mat, the whole palm. Be sure you're pressing more towards your thumbs and index fingers so that you have energy in the inner arms, feeling like they're squeezing in toward your head. Transitioning. Let's take a few steps forward so our feet are underneath us here, like this, and then just slide your fingertips toward your toes. You'll be in a forward fold. You can see that my knees are very bent. That's perfect, but you may still feel a nice stretch through the hamstrings. We can consider this our first hamstring stretch. We're going to modify this with an inhale by sliding hands up to the shins, only rising up halfway. Exhale here. This is half forward fold. So we're creating a nice straight line with the upper body that's parallel to the floor. Feet are firm on the ground. Knees are still bent. Hamstrings very much energized to help hold us in place. Let's finish standing by shifting the weight back into the heels. Toes you can easily tap. Bend your knees, lower your hips. Start looking forward, take your arms out to the side. Drive your heels into the floor so you can stand up nice and tall. Reach up into the air with both arms. That's an inhale. Then exhale, bring your arms down to your side. We've arrived in mountain pose. And once you've arrived here, just kind of check in with everything. Another roll of the shoulders is nice. I like to get into the elbows, wrists, and fingers, especially since we were on our hands for a little bit. You can even work down the body. I like to do a little hip shift side to side a little bit, even some circles. This is a nice continual warm-up as we get ready for our triangle pose. Even work down the legs, knees, ankles, feet, and toes. All right, let's do a half salute to the sun. That's our forward fold, and we come right back up, and I'll guide us. Let's start in mountain pose, and just have a little space between your toes and the front edge of your mat. Nice and tall here. Here we go. Inhale, extend your arms all the way up into the air. Good energy and effort. Exhale, arms out and down to the side as you fold forward. Be sure to put a good bend in your knees. Slowly fold. Belly comes down towards thighs. Let gravity take over and your fingers and head will drop. Inhale, slide your hands back up to your shins, your knees. We're going to hold here on the exhale, returning to our half forward fold. Feeling the strength and energy in the legs, long torso. Now shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees, lower your hips while you lift your chest. This will keep the spine straight, which is good. Arms out to the side, so you can now inhale, return to standing, reaching into the air, extended mountain pose. Exhale, arms return to your side. Very nice. You can shake things out here too. Let's do our variation of Warrior One, and that will start to introduce our lunges. Once again, standing near the top of your mat, nice and tall, take a breath, and then follow me. Let's put a good bend in the knees. Let's keep the knees soft. Start shifting weight into your right foot. Nicely weighted there so your left foot feels kind of light. You're going to start tapping the left foot back. Heel will lift until the leg just kind of stops naturally. It's right about there. And then turn the leg outward so you can place the heel on the floor and just let your body naturally shift back so it's nicely centered and balanced here. So you can see there's a little bit of space between the feet, but not much, and that's perfect. Place your hands on your hips. You're going to push your pelvis downward. as you feel the torso lifting. We're just creating a little bit more space around the belt line so that you can easily turn to mostly face forward here. Inhale, extend your arms all the way up. Nice stretch through the sides of your body. Exhale, bend your elbows until they're about here, a 90-degree angle. Now this is our variation of Warrior One. Lunging position, not too wide, but just getting the idea of standing with our feet somewhat apart. Inhale, extend the arms out and up. Exhale, down, placing hands on hips, pushing pelvis down, nice long torso. We're shifting weight a little bit forward into this front foot so you can pick up that back heel, even turn the leg a little bit so all 10 toes are pointing forward. And then just go ahead and step forward. Plant the feet. Let's extend both arms up into the air. Nice realigning of the body here. Exhale, arms return to your side. Just hold for a moment. We'll just do the same thing on the other side. Let's start with soft knees. Start shifting weight into the left foot, nicely weighted there. Lean forward a tiny bit. Nice light right foot, lifting the heel so you can tap it back until it just naturally stops. That right leg will turn out and down, pressing the heel into the floor. Shifting the body back as we find our center. Once again, place hands on hips. We're pushing pelvis downward with the hands as you extend through the torso. Again, we're just making space along the belt line, enough space so we can turn to face mostly forward. Inhale, extend both arms up into the air. Exhale, bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Now this left knee, a little soft here, slight bend, and the knee and toes are pointing forward. That's just for good alignment. The back leg, even though there's not too much distance between the feet, we're getting a little bit of a hip opener there. Now when we get to the second version of this will feel quite different. Here we go. Inhale, extend both arms straight up. Exhale, arms out and down, placing hands on hips. We're going to lean forward, put some weight into that front foot. Let's lift that back heel, turn the leg so all 10 toes are pointing forward, and then just step forward. Balanced on 2 feet. Inhale, extend both arms up into the air. Exhale, arms can return down to your side. Very nice. All right, let's get into a full sun salutation. Of course, we modify it and move slowly. And we'll get into that second version of Warrior One, moving into Warrior Two, and then we'll introduce some more hamstring stretches. All right, here we are, mountain pose. Inhale, extend both arms out and up. Exhale, spread your wings, coming down, bend the knees, lowering your chest down towards thighs. Gravity takes over, so your hands will drop, your head will drop right here. Inhale, slide your hands up the shins a little bit, re-extending your spine. The exhale, fold, bend your knees a whole lot. Back will round more so you can get the hands to the floor and start walking both feet back. Take your time, get your toes to the back end of your mat here, and then lower your center, lower your hips just a little bit so maybe the hips are at shoulder level. This is plank pose. Nice strong press into the into the mat with your hands so your arms feel strong. Inhale to feel more length through the legs and torso. Exhale, bend your knees like you're about to kneel, but then send your hips up into the air. Now if it feels like your feet and hands are too far apart from each other, just take a little tiptoe forward. This is good. Keep the bend in the knees, send the hips up, and the chest sinks a little bit. So we get this kind of triangle pose here. Now this isn't triangle pose, but it certainly has the shape of a triangle. We're going to inhale and pick up the right foot and extend the right leg straight back. It doesn't have to lift high, just reach until it's very straight. Then exhale, bend the right knee, bring that right knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your whole upper body forward. And then just set your toes on the floor. Your heel will be lifted. Then we'll set the left knee onto the floor. Then pull the hips back so your hands feel a little lighter. Lift this right hand. We're going to go pick up the right foot. Just pick up the ankle and bring the foot up a little higher on the mat. Now we're getting set up for our second version of Warrior One, putting a little bit more distance between the feet. Let's re-lift the left knee, pivot or turn that left heel to the floor. Now if the weight is really forward, you can really see my foot is not connecting to the ground behind me, but we want connection. So I'm walking my hands back, getting some more energy back by pulling the hips back that direction. So I have more pressure into the floor with this foot. Let's check in with this front knee. It's bending. The knee is kind of directly over the heel in this case. Toes and knee are pointing forward. I'm going to walk one hand and then two hands up to the thigh, pushing into the thigh to help extend through the torso. And then hinge from hips, rising up until I'm nice and tall. Then we'll inhale, extend both arms up into the air. Exhale, maybe lunge a little deeper. So this is our second version of Warrior One. So you can really feel the difference. More distance between the feet. You might even feel a little bit more in this left hip flexor. That's great. Keeping this right knee bent, knee and toes pointing forward. And this time the arms are straight up. Let's transition to Warrior Two. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room as you bring your arms down to parallel here. We're making sure your right knee is still pointing forward, that it didn't dip to the inside. Actually, you want to feel as if the knee and thigh is moving to the wall behind you, that direction. So you maintain the alignment and nice hip opener. There's our side angle. Now we're going to Warrior Two, we are moving into side angle. So here's side angle. So we're reaching out like this, getting a nice angled upper body, and then rotate the arms. So we're reaching down and reaching up, just like this. And even follow this left hand overhead a little bit. Now, some of these things are going to sound and feel familiar. We already did this seated, where we did a light stretch for the side of the body, okay? And we also are preparing the body for triangle pose. The only difference between side angle and triangle pose is that in side angle, this knee is bent. In triangle, it'll be straight, but we're not there yet. We're just getting prepared. We're going to inhale and come back up nice and tall. Exhale, you can bring your arms down to your side. We're going to start turning the torso so we're facing forward. Let's lift the arms here. I like to flip the palms up and then fold. And then catch yourself with your hands. Once again, rise up onto tiptoes, heel lifted, all 10 toes pointing forward. Good pressure into the mat with the hands. Feel like the hips lift up, slide right foot back. There's plank. You can see my hips and shoulders are at the same alignment. Bend your knees slightly, send your hips into the air, and we've made our way back into downward facing dog. Be sure to make those adjustments. Tiptoe forward a little bit, adjust your hands, bend your knees more, send your hips up higher, chest sinks, and there's our triangle shape. But of course, this is downward facing dog. Now inhale, pick up your left foot and extend the left leg straight back, energetically extend. The exhale, we bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your whole upper body forward so your shoulders are over the wrists. And then just set the left set of toes down, the heel is lifted, and set the right knee down. Now we're doing this just in the event you can't get your left foot all the way up to the left hand at one fell swoop. We're pulling the weight back so I can use this left hand to go get left foot, place it up a little higher up onto the mat. Preparing for our Warrior One. Let's relift the right knee. The weight is forward. Okay, I'm going to turn that back leg, get the heel on the floor, walk my hands back, pull the hips back, more pressure in that back foot. Elongate the torso over the left thigh. Be sure left knee and toes are pointing forward, and you have this nice alignment here, knee over heel. Hands on thigh, pressing into the thigh to help extend spine. These are all just ways to prep our bodies so we have the full benefit and we're safely moving into the pose. Inhale, rising up, arms go up into the air. Exhale, a little extra lunge here to finish. Warrior One, noticing the sensations in the body. Let's take a breath in. Exhale, turn torso towards the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. You might even need to adjust your feet a little bit. That's fine. Again, just tune into this left knee. Be sure it didn't dip to the inside. It's still pointing forward with an energetic sensation of the knee and outer thigh moving now to your left side. Here's our Warrior Two. Let's get ready for side angle. Reaching out to angle the upper half of the body, and we'll rotate the arms. So left hand's reaching down, right hand's reaching up initially. Let's go ahead and follow the right arm overhead just a tiny bit so we can get that lengthening sensation through the right side of the body. Preparing for our triangle pose. This is working the hips, sides of the body, nice long torso. This arm that's resting on the thigh, it's almost like what we did earlier when this arm was resting on that armrest, the block. Okay, we're going to inhale and come back up nice and tall, back to warrior two arms. Exhale, arms relax. Go ahead and turn your torso forward. Let's bring the arms up, flip the palms up. Now we're ready to fold. And just plant the hands, rise up onto tiptoes behind you, heel lifted. Everything's facing forward. Pressure into the floor with the hands, strong arms, lifting the hips so you can slide the left foot back. There's our plank pose. Holding for strength, just for a breath, and then we're going to make our way down to the ground. Gently kneel down. We're going to sit back briefly in hero. Go ahead and sit off to the side here. Let's swing the legs around to the front. Scoot forward so you're sitting in the center of your mat. Make sure you've got a block handy. You can easily grab it. We're going to do a back bend here. So go ahead and roll down onto your back. And once you are down, go ahead and draw your knees into chest. This is a nice quick resting moment, way to check in with your body. So ensure deep breathing here. I like to circle the ankles, get into the feet a little bit, even free up the hands and wiggle the fingers. All right, ready for our supported bridge pose, which is a back bend. Let's set the feet onto the floor, knees bent. Again, make sure you can still grab your block. You're going to inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale through the mouth, emptying your belly. Press feet into the floor so you can lift your hips just high enough so you can place your block underneath you. I'm just going to turn it up one notch here and then sit. Just get the block in the right spot. I'm adjusting the feet and then just rest here. So a nice opening through the front side of the body without too much energy really exuded. Just to release maybe through the thighs, hip flexors right around the belt line, and even just in that low belly. And of course, back bends are nice heart openers, so a little bit of opening in the chest area too. Nice counter position to maybe something like sitting, okay, or folding forward. Because we're about to do a bit of a forward fold. Alrighty, transitioning. Take a nice full breath in and out. And then press feet into the floor, lifting hips high enough to remove the block out from underneath you, and then slowly make your way back down to the earth. Once you've safely landed, go ahead and extend your legs out front, reach your arms behind you, and just create a nice lengthening through the entire body, stretching in these opposite directions. We're going to make our way back up to seated. So you're invited to bring the knees into chest. If it feels okay, you can rock your way up to seated. But in soft flow, we typically just roll to the side, press, and then lift yourself up to seated. You might want to scoot back a little bit, then extend the legs. Here we're going to do our forward fold, but here's where you can use your strap. We're going to get more into the hamstrings. We're still getting ready for triangle pose. That's our featured pose. I think we've done quite a bit already to help prepare for the posture. Let's just do this one last hamstring stretch. So using your belt or strap or whatever you've got, let's wrap it around the soles of the feet. Get a good hold. I like to hold the strap so that my elbows are bent about 90 degrees and they're right here at the ribs. Shoulders are down and relaxed. A little tug of the strap to help you sit up nice and tall. So we have this nice right angle through the body. And for the most part, the legs are straight here, but you can always put a little bend in the knees. Inhale, a little tug of the strap to get even taller. Exhale, pull belly in, and another tug of the strap to send the heart forward towards toes. Now again, just like our seated forward fold, in cobbler's pose, when the feet were together with the knees bent, we didn't go very far. And the same thing might be occurring here. You don't have to go very far. For me, right here, I'm feeling this quite a bit in my hamstrings. I really could put a slight bend in the knees so it doesn't feel too stressful.
This feels a little bit better. I just put a slight bend in the knees. I'm at the same angle, but it feels a little bit better. So I can hold this a tiny bit longer. Now you're very welcome to keep the knees more bent. You can even round your spine. You just lower your chin, let your back round and go a little lower. Not only do we get that hamstring stretch, we might feel a little stretch down through the back body, and that's always a nice thing too. So we're getting ready for our triangle pose. That is a standing posture. A reminder, it's very similar to our side angle pose. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Now if your back did round, we're going to re-extend the spine. Just lift the chin, look forward, and then start to hinge your way back up. There we are. Go ahead and relax. We'll remove the strap here. We're done with that for now. So I'm going to set my strap to the side. All right, let's go back to hands and knees. I'm just going to lean to the side, swing the legs back behind. Come back to hands and knees here. Feel free to add another cat-cow flow. Here we get that little back bend and rounded sensation. Just keeping that wonderful mobility through the spine and your pelvis. Let's set this up for down dog. Step the hands forward, spread out your fingers. Press hands firmly into the floor. Strong, straight arms. Remember to put good pressure towards the thumbs and index fingers so everything feels like they're squeezing in towards the center line. Tuck your toes. Cat-cow again. Inhale, lift head and heart. That's cow. Exhale into cat, and then just smoothly move right into down dog, lifting the knees and hips. Adjust the feet and hands. Remember, soft knees give you higher hips, sink the chest. There's our triangle shape. Here we go. Inhale, pick up right foot, extend the leg back. Now this time on the exhale, I'm going to do my best to bring the foot closer to the top of the mat. Just behind the wrist is fine. So again, if you didn't make it, just do that other version of getting the foot to the top of the mat. Once you're here, we're turning left heel to the floor, finding that balance, getting more pressure in that back foot. Long torso, hands to thighs, lift, inhale, reaching into the sky. That's our warrior one. Exhale, turn torso towards the left side of the room, arms to parallel. There's warrior two. I'm going to take a bit wider in the stance, nice deep lunge. Now let's get ready for triangle here. All we have to do really is just straighten this front leg. So that warrior two position, straighten the right leg. I'm going to feel like it's still lifting, getting some space along the right side of your body. Just like side angle, we're going to reach out just a little bit, and even that will start to create that lengthening and stretch quality in the hamstrings. We are going to rotate the arms. The hand here can just rest on the knee or thigh, while the left arm reaches into the air, even slightly overhead. The technical name of this pose is extended triangle pose, and that's really what's happening here with this left arm in the air. We're reaching, lots of energy, down through the side body, getting into the hips, because there is this, dip that's happening here, this little tip of the torso in the pelvic bowl, and helping to create that stretch in the hamstrings. So this is a variation of triangle. Let's come out of the pose. Start by bending the right knee so we have some leverage to come back up through warrior two. Let's drop the left arm, bring it around facing forward, flip the palms up, and then fold. Bring your hands to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. There's that nice evenness in the body. Strong pressure into the floor with your hands. Slide right foot back. There's plank. More strength building and realignment of the body. Bend your knees, send your hips into the sky. Make some adjustments, returning to our triangle shape right here. Inhale, let's pick up the left foot, extend the left leg back. Still not worried about the height. The exhale, we bend the knee, and as best as you can, we're sending the foot a little higher up on the mat, or use that second version, or that first version we did. Pivot or turn right heel to the floor, good pressure into that back foot, just by simply walking the hands back, pulling the hips back, getting some centering there.
Left knee and toes are pointing forward, hands on thigh, extending spine. Then our inhale, rising up. Let's make this flow, reaching into the sky, warrior one. Exhale, turn torso towards the right side of the room, arms down to parallel, warrior two. Making some adjustments with the feet, just slightly wider in our stance. So warrior two, we make our full arrival, and then we prep for triangle. Let's straighten this left leg. It's pulling back, but imagine an energy kind of shooting up through the left side of your body here. We reach out over that left leg, just a little bit is fine, and then rotate here, reaching up and down initially, and if you'd like me with this right arm slightly overhead. And there's our side stretch. There's our hip work because of the tipped pelvic bowl. Notice the hamstring stretch. If you can go a little deeper, that's fine, but again, not too much. Certainly don't want to feel too stressed. If you feel like your torso is dipping or falling towards the floor, just ensure you feel open and you're facing quite sideways here. A couple more breaths. We've made it to our triangle pose. Remember to come out of the posture. Let's start by bending the left knee first. We have some leverage, so we can come back up through warrior two. Let's drop the right arm, send it forward, face forward. Flip the palms up, fold, bring the hands down to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. There's the aligned body. Strong hands and arms. Slide left foot back, plank pose. Pause for strength. And let's bring knees to the floor. Sit back briefly in hero. Right here, then off to the side. Swing legs around to the front. A scoot forward, sitting in the center, and once again, go ahead and roll down onto your back. So we're coming to our final sequence here, just some finishing poses before we end our practice. Feel free to add some gentle movements here, reconnect to your breath, check in with your feet and your hands. All right, let's do a hip opener here. Let's do a version of happy baby pose. First, just flex your feet a little bit. Hold on to your knees or shins and just take the legs wide. Just move them to the left and right sides of the room here. And if you can, keep the elbows bent and maybe they reach the floor. And maybe just use your hands like little pads or resting places for the open legs here. Now I call this a variation of happy baby pose because we're not kicking the feet up into the air. We're just keeping them neutral. Let the legs open naturally and they're just resting in the hands for that light stretch in the inner legs. Couple more breaths. We'll finish with a twist. Let's bring the legs together. Let's take both knees over to the left side. Take your time. As the knees go to the left, let's extend the right arm to the right side. Get a nice rotation that's happening through the torso and spine. I typically place my left hand on top of this right leg here and gently press. Actually, you really don't have to press. Just the weight of the hand on the leg is enough just to create a little bit more of a rotation or twisting sensation through the lower half of the body. And just kind of an energetic reach of the right hand across the room. Take some deep breaths here. You can stay here as long as you'd like. Wonderful rotation for the spine. Kind of complementary to some of the other spinal work we did. Just kind of think about it. We did cat-cow, which undulates the spine in a certain way. We kind of tipped over side to side. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of a side bend, and so we'll get this arched feeling in the spine. And now we're rotating the spine. Okay, let's bring the knees back up to center. So the spine here can now realign back to its neutral alignment and orientation. And let's take the knees slowly over to the right side. Left arm to the left. Right hand might be placed on top of this left knee or thigh, adding just a little bit of weight and some breath. Now you probably can't see this, but my block was over here, so my legs, or at least my bottom leg, the right leg, is resting on top of that block. That's quite nice because that way you don't feel like you don't over-rotate if the legs
are trying to reach or are touching the ground. Sometimes that might feel a little stressful. So feel free to tuck something underneath the legs or even something between the knees here, just to soften it up a little bit so it doesn't overwhelm the body. A couple more breaths on this side. And let's carefully come back up to center. We'll set the feet down. Just hold here for a moment. I find this pretty relaxing. With the feet on the floor, knees bent, the back can relax. Now we're moving into Shavasana. So actually this could be your Shavasana, your ending relaxation pose. Sometimes with the legs extended and you're lying flat on the ground, sometimes it's not very comfortable, especially if you're on, a hardwood floor, even with something soft underneath you, which you certainly can do. Just to soften things up and to help protect your hips and back, you can always just bend your knees. Wherever you are, just want to feel quite relaxed, very well rested. Return to the breath. Take slow, deep breaths here. You might be gazing upward with soft eyes, or you can close your eyes. Think about the beginning of our practice. We started in seated, very still, focusing on the breath, getting us in tuned, mindful and connected, fully aware, preparing for the moving practice. And then the breath guided us and supported us in that moving practice with our focus on triangle pose, getting into our hamstrings and hips. And after all that movement, we come back here to stillness with breath. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I end the practice and come up to seated, if you found a nice, comfortable lying down position, stay there. Take advantage of this restful moment. This is your time. When it is time to move, take your time. Start with breath. Just take some deeper breaths just to generate energy in your body. This might be 5 breaths or more. Intentional breathing. And just like the beginning of our practice, listen to the sound of the breath. Experience the sensation of your breath. Bring energy back into your body. And also feel movement return to your body. And then sometime after your 5th breath, moving in slow motion. If you're lying flat, you might bend your knees and just maneuver yourself to one side of your body into this nurturing pose. And then just slowly press yourself up to seated. Feel free to bring in something soft to sit on. You might even cross your legs here. Nice and tall, lengthened spine, relax shoulders and arms. You can just even let your hands rest in your lap here. One more movement together. Inhale, extend your arms out and up. On the exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Take one more breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.